Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online role video with me, Sherman. Today guys, we're going to be taking a look at the Witchblade in its healer role. So this way you guys can play it in healer if you so choose. Let's get into it. Now remember, everything here is just a suggestion. You can choose the type of skills you want to unlock and use. That is up to you. I'm just showing you the tools that you can use to play this role this way. Alright. So we are the Witchblade character, Dark Elf Necromancer. As you can see, we have 64 points in the Magicka. That's going to give us 31,604 Magicka with a 21,000 health, 16k stamina, and 1928 Magicka recovery with a 524 stam recovery. Don't really have to worry too much about stam recovery with this. We do have 2,067 spell damage with a 46% spell critical. We do have 11,656 spell resistance with a 10,254 physical resistance. Scrolling on down, we are using the Atronach Mundus Stone to give us higher mag recovery, and we are using Witch Mother's Potent Brew to give us the max health, Magicka, and Magicka recovery. Now moving on to the gear we're using. Now you can choose to change out the monster set if you so choose to be more of an effective healer. That is up to you. But I do like this setup for this particular reason. So we are using Maw of the Infernal. This is going to give you 1 piece max health, 2 piece. When you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 10% chance to summon a fire-breathing Daedrith for 15 seconds. This Daedrith's basic attacks deal 5,789 flame damage. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. We are wearing head and shoulders on this, both light. And onto the body set, we are using Night Mother's Gaze. Now, the reason I chose Night Mother's Gaze for this is because this is a hybrid type build, so you can play it as a tank, a healer, and damage dealer. But the nice thing about this set is the fact that you get the 2-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece bonus of critical, weapon damage critical, but it's that 5-piece bonus, which is really going to play well into this. When you deal critical damage, you apply major fracture to enemies, reducing their physical resistance by 5,280. If you throw a light attack, just like this, and it crits, by chance, on the enemy, if I can get it to work, there we go, there's major fracture. I also applied major breach. So I have breach and fracture on there, and I can keep them up pretty much indefinitely, because all I have to do is critical damage. So as long as I'm dealing critical damage, I can keep that up. I can throw out orbs, that's going to do critical damage, that's going to also keep that fracture applied. Any critical damage I deal. So it's a really good setup for that purpose. Now, going back over the rest of the sets, the next set we're using is the Treasure Hunter. This is going to give you max magic on the 2-piece, 3-piece spell critical, 4-piece spell critical, 5-piece spell damage, and then gain major prophecy at all times, increasing your spell critical by 2191. A little unusual of a set for most people, but I think for this kind of setup it works out really good. Moving on to the weapons, we are using 2 Night Mother staves. One's an Inferno staff, the other one is a Restoration staff. Now let's go over the traits. On the gear, we are using all divines, and this is going to give us that maximum effect on our Mundus Stone. We are using tri-stats on the helm, legs, and chest. This is going to give us that ability to hybridize into tank, healer, or damage dealer. And we have in the belt and the shoulders, max Magicka, boots and gloves, max stamina. This is going to help us again hybridize. On the jewelry, we are using a ring, two rings of the Treasure Hunter, both of them tri-rune, with weapon damage on one, spell damage on the other, and then the third one is a magic recovery infused necklace. On the weapon, the Inferno staff, we are using a diseased Nirnhone staff. Now, the reason we're using a diseased Nirnhone staff is, one, it does boost our weapon damage and stuff like that. We're not meant to be damage dealers. This is to boost the effects of our abilities. That's it. So let's take a look at that. So on the front bar here, like Mystic Orb is going to do more damage. This is actually going to heal for more because of that. So let's go ahead and go back here. And we have a disease damage, so we can apply Minor Defile. Moving on to this Restoration staff. As you can see, this is a infused staff with an absorbed Magicka. This is going to help you sustain when you're using Magicka a little bit better. And we don't have to worry about healing effect because we have a pretty decent spell damage with this setup for healing. So even on the back bar, we have an 1867 with all of our buffs and everything, our potion. We're going to get that. Now, the potion we are using for this is the Spell Power Pots. This is going to give you magic return. Grants major intellect, increasing your magic recovered by 20%. Also, major sorcery and major prophecy, increasing spell damage by 20% and your spell critical by 2191. You don't have to worry about that 2191. You already get it. All right. Now, moving on to the skills. Again, with the skills, just like all the other roles, unlock all your class abilities and passives. This is going to give you a well-rounded option to play this as any role you want. So, tank, healer, damage dealer. Moving on to weapons. For this setup, we are using a destruction staff and a restoration staff. Also unlock their passives and their abilities, so that way you have access to them if you need them. Moving on to armor. Light armor. Light armor ability is good to unlock, and all the passives. The passives are Grace, reduces the effectiveness of snares applied to you by 4% for each piece of light armor worn. We get a 20%. Reduce the cost of sprint, by 3% per piece of light armor worn, 15%. And then we have Evocation, increases your magic recovered by 4% for each piece of light armor equipped, giving you a 20% bonus to it. And then reduce the cost of your magic abilities by 2% for each piece. You can see that's a 10% reduced cost. We have Spell Warding, increases spell resistance by 363 for each piece of light armor equipped. That is 1815. And then Prodigy, increase your spell critical by 2191. This is going to give you higher spell crit. And it does stack with Major Prophecy. Next, we have Concentration. When you have 5 or more pieces of light armor equipped, you increase your spell penetration by 4,884. This just helps with your DPS when you're playing a damage dealer. A lot of these different things help you in different roles, in different situations. Medium armor, we do have the one piece of medium armor, so just go ahead and unlock these 2 passives, and the bottom one is the most important. Athletics increases your movement speed bonus of sprint by 3% for each piece of medium armor equipped, and it reduces your dodge roll cost by 4% for each piece of medium armor equipped. Dexterity, you don't really need in this role, but it's still nice to have for when you play stamina DPS, and same with Windwalker. Heavy armor is going to be good no matter what. Increases your physical, this is Resolve, increases your physical and spell resist by 362 for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Constitution, increase your health recovery by 4% per piece of heavy armor equipped, and restore 108 magic and stamina when you take damage for each piece of heavy armor equipped. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. And then we have Juggernaut, which increases your max health by 2% for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Moving on to world skills. Soul Magic. Soul Summons allows you to revive once every hour without spending a soul gem. And then Soul Lock, killing an enemy with a weapon ability has a 10% chance of automatically filling an empty soul gem. Moving on to guild skills. Finder's Guild, I just unlock all the abilities and passives for when I play stamina DPS, and same thing with Magicka. If I need to play Magicka DPS or I just need the abilities for something, I can do that. Same thing goes for Psijic Order and Undaunted. And the main reason why I unlock all these things is so I have tools and options available for if I need them. So if I need more synergies, I have more synergies right here. Besides what my class offers and stuff, I can get synergies elsewhere. I can get synergies, or I can get damage abilities. I can get healing abilities from different locations. Alright, moving on, make sure you get the Undaunted passives. These are super important. And then Alliance War, Assault, you can take the skills you choose. Same with the support. And when you do support, make sure you get this Magicka aid, because this does apply to you anywhere in the game. Alright, racials. Dark Elf. Starting with the this, we have Dynamics. This increases your max Magicka stamina. They make really good hybridized characters. Then you have Flame Resistance, increase flame resistance by 2310, gain immunity to burning status effects, And then Ruination, increase your weapon and spell damage by 258. Moving on to crafting, alchemy, medicinal use, very important. I wouldn't say it's like the most important, but if you can level this and get it unlocked, try to do it. It's going to help you out in the long run. When using potions, resulting effects last 30% longer. And then provisioning, gourmand and connoisseur, both of these add 20 minutes to your food and drink durations. Alright, now that I've done that, let's go over the skills we have on the bar. Now, you do not have to use this skill setup. You can use the skill setup of your choice. Starting with the first skill, we have Ghostly Embrace. Summon 3 patches of skeleton claws from the ground in front of you, snaring your enemies by 50% for 5 seconds and inflicting minor maim for 5 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15%. Each patch can immobilize 1 enemy for 4 seconds. Next ability we have is Mystic Orb. Project a globe of annihilation that slowly floats forward, dealing 1,130 magic damage every second to nearby enemies. An ally near the globe can activate the combustion synergy, causing it to explode for 6,860 magic damage to nearby enemies, and restores 3,960 magicka or stamina to an ally, whichever maximum is higher. We have Mortal Coil. Siphon the last remnants of life from a corpse, healing for 2008 over 12 seconds to yourself or an ally between you and the corpse. You also restore 2,844 stamina over 12 seconds while siphoning the corpse. While slotted, your healing done is increased by 3%. So there is a reason why I have this here, is because I can put it on either bar, and in some cases it might be better to have it on the back bar where we have our resto staff. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to swap them around. Alright, let's go back over this skill. Remote Totem. Call forth an effigy of bone that gives minor protection to you and allies for 9.5 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 8%. After 2 seconds, the totem instills fear in enemies, holding them in place for 4 seconds. Next ability we have on our bar is Elemental Drain. Now this one, you send the elements to sap an enemy's defenses and afflict them with Major Breach for 24 seconds, reducing their spell resistance by 5,280. Also applies minor magicka steal to the enemy for 24 seconds, causing you and your allies to restore 300 magicka every second when damaging them. Next ability we have is Inner Light. Summon a moat. We're not going to read that one. We're going to go real part. While slotted, your max magic is increased by 5%, and you gain Major Prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2191. The upper part is nice if there's enemies that are stealthing, but there's not a lot of enemies in PvE that do that. Moving on to the next ultimate ability we have Animate Blast Bones. Bring your allies back from the brink of death, resurrecting up to 3 allies at the target location. You consume up to 3 other corpses in the area and summon a Blast Bones for each corpse consumed. On the back bar, we have the Mortal Coil. We're going to go ahead and jump over that to Illustrious Healing. Summon Restoring Spirits with your staff, healing you and your allies in the target area for 1934 health. And an additional 1934 health every 1 second for 4 seconds. Then we have Combat Prayer. This one, slam your staff down to activate its blessing, healing you and your allies in front of you for 4,823 health. Also grants Minor Berserk and Minor Resolve and Minor Ward, increasing you and your allies' damage done by 8%, and physical and spell resistance by 1320 for 8 seconds. Moving on to this one, we have Renewing Undeath. This one, release residual fragments of fallen souls at the target location, healing you and your allies for 6,173 health. Consumes a corpse on cast to immediately remove up to 3 negative effects, and continues to heal you and your allies in the area for 5,970 health over 5 seconds. We have Inner Light here again for the max magicka and the Major Prophecy. And then the final ability we have is Aggressive Warhorn. Sound a war horn to rally your forces, increasing you and your allies' max magicka and stamina by 10% for 30 seconds, and you and your allies gain Major Force, increasing your critical damage by 15% for 9 seconds. Alright. Let's move on to the CP. Starting with the Red Tree. We have 66 in Ironclad. This reduces damage taken from direct damage attacks by 22%. We have 56 into thick skin, reducing your damage taken from damage over time effects by 20%. 4 into light armor focus, just to kind of balance out our our physical and spell resist. And then we have 56 into hardy, reduces your damage taken from physical, poison, and disease damage by 12%. 56 into elemental defender, reducing your damage taken from flame, frost, shock, and magic damage by 12%. And then moving on over here, we have 32 into quick recovery, increasing our healing received by 8%. Moving on to the green tree, 40 into Warlord, reduces your cost to break free by 16%. 16 into Sprinter, reducing your sprint cost by 10%. 16 into Bashing Focus, reducing your bash cost by 10%. And then moving on to the middle here, we have 43 into Arcanist, increasing your Magicka recovery by 10%. And 75 into Tenacity, increasing your Magicka and Stamina for your fully charged heavy attacks by 14%. Moving on over here, we have 40 into Tumbling, reducing your dodge roll cost by 16%. And 40 into Shadow Ward, reducing your block cost by 16%. Now moving on to the blue tree, 43 into Blessed, increases your healing done by 10%. 56 into Elfborn, this increases your critical damage and critical healing by 20%. 56 into Elemental Expert, increasing Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage by 12%. And then moving on here in the middle, we have 35 into Staff Expert. This increases your damage done with light and heavy attacks for Destruction and Restoration staves, as well as Overload, which is a Sork ability, by 20%. 40 into Master at Arms, increasing your damage done with direct damage attacks by 16%. And finally, 40 into Thaumaturge. This increases your damage done with damage over time effects by 16%. So, before I go any further, I do want to clarify something. This build is made to play a lot of different roles. So, keeping it with a universal setup like that, not only can I play a healer, I can also play a damage dealer with that same CP setup if I so choose. With maybe even a minor adjustment to the tenacity and arcane recovery. Alright, so now that you guys have seen that, let's go ahead and see what this thing is like in a dungeon, so you guys can choose for yourselves whether or not it's something you might like to play. And of course, we are going to use the Depths of Malatar again for this, to show you guys it in action, because Depths of Malatar is one of the latest dungeons released with the Wrathstone DLC, and it is one of the more difficult dungeons that most people play because it's a newer dungeon. And that is it. Let's get in here so I can show you guys this, and then yeah. So I really do like some of these character builds I've been releasing lately, guys, for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying them just as much as I am. I like this kind of play where you can play whatever role you want with your character without limiting your options to just one specific. I know a lot of people like roles, and that's cool. That's why I'm still doing roles and not just showing you the build. And yes, I can kill these guys even as a healer. It's just gonna take me a long time. So I'm probably just gonna let him kill me. But you guys can see this thing is pretty good at healing. It's got a lot of skills that you can also use that that you don't see, that are hidden away because they're in our skill kit. But if you want to have them on the toolbar, you can take advantage of those skills as well. It's really up to the player to decide what they want to do with the build and how they want to play it. And that, my friends, is the Witchblade as a healer. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys did, you guys know what's coming next. Hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.